Go ahead, Kiran.
Okay. So today, for today's, the speaker is Mr. Blesson Matthew, who's a business leader for VMware at New Wave Computing. We also have Bharat, who's a cloud management specialist from VMware. We are also accompanied by Mr. Subbu, who's a senior partner account manager, and Pankaj Jaiswal, who's a pre-sales specialist at New Wave Computing. Sorry, from VMware. This session is scheduled to run for 45 minutes, starting with a keynote address from Mr. Dheeraj, followed by a session from Mr. Blesson, and we'll end with a Q&A session. And all the participants will remain muted, and you may raise your hand on the Q&A panel should you have any issues in the audio or video. And we will be polling for questions during the session, and we request you to please send in your responses to help us keep the session lively. Before I invite Mr. Dheeraj to speak, I would like to run a couple of polls. I sincerely request all of you to kindly participate in it. So herewith I'm starting my first poll. I hope everyone can see my poll, and the poll question reads, what is the size of your current VMware virtualization estate? I hope everyone can see my poll, and I request everyone to kindly give their opinion on this poll. I see there are more than 12 people, and I see only two votes coming in. Yeah.
Actually, the purpose of the poll as well is to ensure that, we address the specific answers that we see coming in, so that, for people who have less than 50 virtual machines, there is a way to adopt this vRealize solutions. And for people who have a large estate, there is a different way that you can consume it. So it'll really help us if you can just be a little interactive and click on some of those questions. We're going to try and tune our pitch according to what we are saying, right? So that we make it more relevant to you, right? So thank you so much for your participation.
Yeah, thank you so much for your participation. I'm going to just show the results to all of you. I think most of the 80% of the votes have come to more than 100 virtual machines. Let's get back. Let's go to next question. And the next question reads, what is the number one challenge you currently face in managing your VMware virtual estate? So I'm going to read the question again. What is the number one challenge you currently face in managing your VMware virtual estate? I request everyone to kindly give your responses to this poll. I see no one is participating in the poll. Can we have some answers?
I'm sure they are. They're just reading the options. So, 1, 2, 3. The options are really visibility. That is, you want a clear line of sight from app to infra, which you don't have right now. Or the challenge you may be having is that by the time we take to troubleshoot things, it's too long, not acceptable to business. Or you're not having those two issues. Maybe to be able to consistently sign off on performances that you've done with business, right, to maintain those SLAs, and you're struggling with that. That could be a big challenge you're facing. And I will encourage the others to vote as well, because make it a little interactive, because the session that he's going to talk about, he's probably going to spend a little more time based on some of the challenges you talk about. Reclamation, absolutely, that's another option to look at. And configuration and compliance. If you're in a regulatory kind of environment and you need to ensure that you're ready for audits, etc., and it's consuming time to get that readiness done, that's a challenge that you're facing. So there are only, I think, only 2 votes or 3 votes in. Could we just encourage everybody else to jump in as well? Thank you. Whoever clicked that, we don't know, but that's good. And maybe give a few seconds more for this, Kiran.
Right, sir.
Okay, I think we can close that out.
Okay, so I'm just call out the results of this poll. The 0% of the votes have come for visibility, and 50% of the votes have come for troubleshooting. 0% of the votes have come for performance guarantee for biz applications. 25% of the votes have come for recalmation of unused or idle virtual machines and snapshots. and 40% of the votes have come for configuration and compliance. Blesson, would you like to add some comments to this poll?
Yeah, thanks, Kiran. So this is somewhat similar to whatever we are seeing and while we are talking to customer, that a lot of people are struggling with the troubleshooting from the application to the infra. That's one thing that they are struggling with. And also about reclamation of unused resources. There are a lot of resources, some of them are unused. They're not able to reclaim that back. That's becoming a major challenge for a lot of customers. So it's in line with a lot of customers that we are talking into. But visibility also seems to be one thing that a lot of customers want to look into. That's a little surprising that it's at 0, but I think other which ways it's all falling in line. It's something very similar that we are hearing from a lot of our customers.
Blesson, I'm sorry. Can you I mean, is your speaker on there? Would you like to off that speaker because I'm getting echo?
No, we are hearing it fine. Yeah, proceed, Kiran. Next.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So let's go to the last poll of the beginning. It says, are you currently running a performance and capacity management tool on your VMware virtual estate?
So I think the other way to ask us is how you're managing these challenges that you've seen earlier. How are you currently doing that? And if you're using any of the other third-party tools, and maybe some of it is coming up for a refresh of some side, or you're finding a lot of gaps, I think you're at the right session. So even for people who have the tool, keep an open mind, because like I always tell Blesson, the best tool to look after a VMware estate is from VMware, honestly speaking, and you will see why. And for those who've had a VMware VOps with them earlier, 6.5, 6.6, I can tell you this 8.1 version is completely overhauled. So we're really excited to share that with you, right? So back to you, Kiran.
Thank you so much, sir. So now I would like to bring in Mr. Dheeraj to give his keynote address.
Thanks, Kiran. Good afternoon. This is Dheeraj from VMware. Newwave, thank you for the platform today, and we're going to cover this whole topic into 3 brief introductions. Well, I will going to take up the brief introduction about why VMware's vRealize operation as a tool. I'll be followed by my colleague Blesson, who will do a deep dive into what's the latest that vRealize operation offers today. Probably we'll run through some use cases and demo, and also which are the other industry verticals that customers use into similar line of business that are quite different from other third-party management tools who are into similar line of business. So let me start this day, right? When we talk to many of our customers, they say today's journey is moving away from siloed, slow, and reactive IT operations to anything to do with IT automated driven automation that sets a platform to easily manage, deploy any application into a resourceful infrastructure that helps manage, perform, or optimize business impact that becomes more proactive. We all run different types of clouds. We have customers running on-prem, using multiple hybrid clouds, using on-prem data center to leverage certain VMs into third-party silos, DRS and offshore centers. For all this, an underlying layer, what you require today is an operational data and a metric, so that all your business and operational intent is continuously optimized, in addition to getting automated and an action intent workloads, right? So how do we get this done? So let's say as a customer, I'm sure you guys are using your workloads on-prem, any of the public clouds, or even silo data centers. Now, how does VMware vRealize operation help your cloud story in the most hassle-free? Self-driving operation provide continuous and automated closed-loop performance optimization based on the intent or the environment which you are currently running for. At the end of the road, right, VMware vRealization operates 4 different things. One is, how do you continuously perform your optimization, right? This tool will help you give you an insight on predictive analytics, automated workload balancing, and a predictive resource scheduler, right? With regards to efficiency capacity management, you can understand how do you plan resources in case you're migrating from on-prem to cloud. In case if there's a peak utilization on an application, this tool will help you run any shortfall prediction in the most reactive way. Also, with the help of an intelligent remediation tool, we do a 360-degree troubleshooting of your environment. Anything to do with native SDDC integration can also be helpful in giving a biased option to the customer, wherein customer today is more of a steering wheel back for any troubleshooting. Right? IT is a major pillar for any customers today, which plays a major role in integration, troubleshooting, and extensive platform. Also, this tool helps you mitigate risk by continuously measuring vSphere configurations against any compliances for IT standard. When I say, let's say, compliance against regulatory standards, compliance standards, and automated recommendation. This tool is majorly used by top-notch in banks today. The only reason is we have a standard regulation by HIPAA compliance that there's no third-party tool that has to leverage within IT environment, and so this tool helps you join your cases today. Just to sum it up, if you ask me what are the 3 high-value reasons to use vRealize Operation Manager, my response would be one is automated VROps alert, right? Let's say your virtual machine is demanding more memory than it's entitled. How do you know, as an IT environment or an IT user, how do you know you have proactive support from a tool which will help you give additional resources? VROps will help you. Let's say a virtual machine in a DRS cluster is demanding and you need more memory than its entitlement. You just have to go to the VROps tool. It will help you, give you the right recommendation, and it will also tell you you can move a virtual machine from one cluster to another cluster. So these are some of the intrinsic behavior of this tool. Any IT automation to take care of its needs. And coming to the last point, it's policy-based reporting and right. So let's say you have a certain workload automation within your environment. This tool will help you collect metrics and properties, give you alerts, symptoms, and definitions based upon the predictive analysis about your IT environment growth and the future accessible ratio for any application. You can also help collide any policy-based groups to any custom profile, which will give you workload automation and setting up any custom profile.
Dheeraj, sorry if you don't mind, can Blessing take it on, because some of the attendees are talking about not able to hear you clearly. I think you're in a sort of a place where you're not very audible. So can we toss it over to Blessing, please, to take it forward?
All right, okay. Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Blessing, you can
Blessing, take it on.
Yeah, thanks Dheeraj for that introduction. So if you have a VMware virtual estate, be it on-premise or on cloud, there are certain operational challenges that when we speak to customers, they have come out and clearly
Sorry,
told us.
Dheeraj, can you please go on mute if you don't mind? Sorry, thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Blessing.
So when we speak to a lot of customers, even during this difficult times, there are challenges that he is facing, and to maintain the data center automatically is something that the customers really want to do. Now, when we spoke to a lot of customers during this phase, these are the 5 major challenges that they came out to us with. The first one was from a visibility standpoint. They wanted to know, I want to have a clear line of visibility from my application to my infrastructure. Everything I need to be able to see it, so that if there is a problem sometime, I'm able to troubleshoot it faster. So they also wanted, if there is a problem, the troubleshooting to be happening faster. That's by adjusting their time as well as their topology scope. That's what they wanted to do. Second challenge that a lot of customers spoke to us is that our businesses come to us and say, we need a specific SLA for my workload that is running. So I have a gold tier workload that needs to be running at that performance at any given period of time. So there is a need of running your gold tier workload on a gold tier machine and making sure that it is able to do the performance. But there is also one more thing that the IT people spoke to us is that when I have a test and a dev kind of an environment, I want to consolidate my workloads so that I'm able to utilize maximum out of my resources. Right? That's something that a lot of IT people spoke to us about. The next thing was about modernization. A lot of customers have walked up to us and said, our IT budgets have been cut. Now we've been asked to do more with whatever we have. How do we achieve it? How am I able to do more with whatever I have? Is there a way that we can do this with my current estate? That's something that they want to know. The third thing was about cutting costs. This is maybe from a licensing standpoint, if they're using a lot of Oracle and Microsoft licenses, they want to know, is there a way that they can control the cost of this software? Also, in terms of the expenditure that they have to do, how much more to buy? If there is a new project, can it run on the current infrastructure that I have, or should I buy more? Is something that a lot of IT people are coming and asking, because that's what businesses are asking to them. And the last part of it, but really very important, is about managing risk. Even 40% of you said managing risk is one top criteria, because in the current world that we are and the situation that we are, there are a lot of cyber security threats, right? One is the compliance reporting that you have externally, PCI, it could be HIPAA or any other agency. And the other one is something which is more internal, where you have a certain configuration compliance. And if there is a drift away from that configuration compliance, you want to automatically correct that, right? That's something that a lot of organizations are looking at. And let's see how VMware helps in solving out these challenges. One thing is very clear to us, that the need of the above for almost all the organization is to run a self-driving operations, which is a lot of a hands-off approach and a hassle-free production operation. That's what every organization today want to run. Be it, it doesn't matter the scale of VMs and the workloads he is running, but he wants to run it this way in a very automated way, right? So let's see how VMware helps customers achieve this. They do it through 4 distinct tenets or pillars through which they are able to achieve this. The first one among them is a continuous performance optimization, where I am able to put your workload based on the tier that you have defined. The tier can be defined based on the licensing, based on the SLA that you have agreed, or based on the compliance that you want to make. So if you want a PCI scope workload to run on a PCI scope machine, we will make sure that it runs on it. And if there is a gold tier workload that you want to run on a gold tier hardware, a silver tier workload on a silver tier hardware, a bronze tier workload on a bronze tier hardware, that is also possible. And if you want to do most of an optimization, the optimization can be done where a silver tier workload can run on a gold tier workload. But when there is a contention, gold tier takes the precedence over the silver tier. That's something that we do through the continuous performance optimization. The second thing that we do is efficient capacity management. We tell you, if you run the way that you're running and the number of VMs that you're spinning up, if you run at that rate, how soon will you run out of your capacity? Or if you have a new workload that needs to be bought in, do you have enough capacity and enough RAM or CPU to run it on your current workload? Or what are the other options that are available to you? That's something that we do during the efficient capacity management. The third thing is about intelligent remediation. There are a lot of things that the customer sees as noise. Now, how can we clearly give you a visibility from your application level till your infrastructure, so that if there is a problem, you are able to adjust your time scope and topology scope and resolve problems quicker. That's what we do through the intelligent remediation. And the last part of it is the compliance. The compliance, like I said earlier, could be external, like you want to have a HIPAA compliance or a PCI DSS compliance. So we have 6 compliance reports that can be given, or something very internal where you have configuration compliances to be met as part of whatever your security operation team has defined. And you don't want your VMs to drift away from the compliance policies that are set. To automatically correct them, VMware vRealize operations enable you to do that, right? Now let's look at what vRealize operation is all about. So if you see the underlying part of it, you may have your own software defined data center running, or a 3-tier architecture that is running. You may have a architecture which is running on your edge or your remote office or branch office. You may have certain workloads which are running on VMC on AWS, or there are certain workloads that are running on the public cloud. Now the vRealize operations gives you a AI ML engine built platform that collects all your logs, your configuration, your metrics, your application topology and the dependency mapping, and it collects all this data and puts it into the tool. And what does the tool give? The tool gives you the ways that you can optimize your performance, the way you can optimize your cost as well as your capacity, how you can maintain the configuration compliance that you have set, both for external as well as internal purposes, and also remediate them faster. Now here's where the vRealization operation is different. We define all of this based on two intents. One is the business intent. The business intent relates to everything that has to do with cost saving, that has to do with compliance, and that has to do with the service level agreement that you have agreed with your internal business units. And the operational intent is to make the operation smoother, like the performance. How do I gather the performance? How do I improve my performance? What is my utilization? If I utilize at the pace at which I am utilizing, how soon will I run out of my resources? That's what you want to know. And the third thing is the capacity. Capacity in terms of, can I run a new workload? What are the different options that are available? All of this defines the operational intent. I have some very interesting videos for you as part of my slide to show you how this is done. Right? So let's jump into how a vRealize operation window looks like. The vRealize operations, both on-premise or on cloud, has the same look and feel. So when you log into vRealize operations, you have 4 distinct windows. One is optimize performance, another is optimize capacity, third is the troubleshooting window, and the fourth is the managed configuration. Now within the optimize performance, what do we have? We have workload optimization. Now workload optimization, like I said, can be defined based on the tags that you set, be it on terms of licenses, be it in terms of the workloads that you want to define, or be it in terms of compliances that you want to achieve. That's what you achieve through the workload optimization. The second thing that you can do is right size. If there are certain VMs, there may be certain VMs that are oversized. How do you right size them? If there are certain VMs that are undersized, how do I right size them? So that is something that I do through the optimized performance piece. Then the tool will come and tell you the recommendations of how you should be running your VMs and what configurations they should be running at. And then you can see your optimization history. That's what the optimized performance helps you do. This pillar actually helps you achieve the business intent that your organization wants to achieve. So what are the questions that a lot of customers ask us from a performance standpoint is, will I be able to achieve an automated resolution of my VM performance issues? The answer is yes. Can I limit my VM movement based on licensing cost? Yes, that can be done. I have a very interesting video to show you how the Oracle and the Microsoft licensing can be managed. And can I have policies to avoid contention? This is something that optimized performance lets customer do. Now let's move to the second window. The rest of the 3 pillars are to take care of your operational intent. The first window is for your business intent. The next 3 pillars are for your operational intent. Now what does optimized capacity give you? One, it gives you an assessment of your capacity to know if you continue to run the way you are running, how soon will you run out of your resources, right? Second thing it does is it helps you reclaim unused VMs. Now what all is covered under the reclamation bundle is that if there is a powered off VM for a very large period of time, right, I can claim back the storage because the VM is powered off. If there is an ideal VM and it is using less than equal to 100 megahertz of CPU, and for a defined period of time it's been continuously using it, I will help you reclaim the CPU, the memory, as well as the storage from those VMs. Third thing is snapshots. If there are snapshots that are there in your environment for more than a period that you have specified, I will help you reclaim that capacity so that you have more storage. And the fourth one is the orphaned VM decays. So if there are certain VM decays, that is VM disks, that are not participating in your production VMs, I help you pull that back as far as reclamation is considered. Then the third thing is the what if scenario. This is something very new with the vRealize operation 8.1, which will tell me if you have a workload, what will it take for me to run it either in your own data center or at different places. So if somebody comes out with a new project to you, you can give him different options as well as an intelligent reply of whether the workload can run, right? And the last one is about assessment of cost. How much more profitable is it whether I run it on A data center or a B data center, whether I run it on VMC on AWS or I run it on public cloud. All of this can be seen through a single window through the vRealize operation. So some of the common questions that we get asked from our customers is, can I know what is my total capacity, and if I continue to run the way I am running, how soon will I run out of the capacity I have? That's something that we can answer to the optimized capacity piece. The second thing that they want to know is, if I have some resources that I need to reclaim, can I reclaim them? The answer is yes. You can reclaim capacity based on the different criteria that you set. Then, do I get a cost comparison between running the VMs on my private cloud or VMC on AWS or public cloud? The answer is yes. You get all these three options from the vRealize operation. The third one is about troubleshooting, and here is where the best part of it is. This is something that is very newly added in the vRealize operation is the workbench. The workbench helps you to give you a clear line of sight from your application to your infrastructure, and also adjust your time and topology scope to resolve your problems quickly. It also has the vRealize log insight built into it, which will give you logs from your virtual machine, host, cluster, data store, and help you resolve your problems quickly, because through a single window, you are able to match multiple metrics and resolve issues faster. So what does customer want to look at when it is looking at troubleshooting? He wants to know how is his global environment doing? Are all his VMs running healthily, or are there any problems in some of his VMs? Second things, if there are a lot of alerts, how do I separate myself from the noise? No, this is the problem. And if I resolve the problem, what is the impact it is going to have on my other VMs? That's something that the customer wants to know. The third thing is, how fast can I troubleshoot? You can troubleshoot faster because I'm able to see the trouble from far off. And if the trouble happens, I'm able to resolve it quickly. That's what troubleshooting helps you. Then the last part of it is managing configuration. You may have certain compliance policies. There are 6 compliance reports that can be automatically generated from vRealize operations. PSI, DSS, HIPAA are some that are a few that I can name for you. And also, if you have certain internal configurations that has to be maintained on each of your specific VMs, and if that is defined, I will continuously monitor your workloads to see that they are not drifting away from your configuration policies and help you automatically correct them. This helps customer to keep a very tight security on the workloads that they are running. So what does compliance help customer to do? It helps him from remediating from a configuration drift. It helps him meet his regulatory compliances. It helps him meet his software-defined data center compliance. And he can also evaluate whether his VMs are running as per the compliances that he set within his workloads. So these are the 4 pillars that help vRealize operation run automatically. That is the hands-on free operation experience that customers want to have. And the best thing about vRealize operation is that vRealize operation gives a very measurable business and financial outcome. Even a Forrester study done on it tells the same thing. The numbers may vary from customer to customer, but this is something that vRealize operation surely will help you achieve. It will help you in reduction of your unplanned downtime, because I am able to see things even before they happen, and if they happen, I am able to resolve them quickly. Second, my mean time to resolve a problem is quicker because I am seeing everything from an application to infrastructure, and by adjusting my time and topology scope, I am able to resolve problems faster. Third thing, it will help me improve my operational efficiency. It will reduce my software licensing cost by tagging. That's something that I will have to show you in my video. It's very easy to understand that how customers are able to benefit from reduction in their software licensing cost. And the last one is with the what if analysis, I am able to save the investment that you have to make and also reduce the capex spending that you have to do. So these are all the measurable outcomes that vRealize operation can achieve for every organization who wants to run their operations automatically. So let me quickly do a demo. I have 3 demos lined up for you. So let's look into the first one, which is the workload optimization demo, where the business intent that a customer wants to achieve is something that he was able to achieve, right? So this is what a customer wants to do. A customer has a workload optimization, right? And he wants to run his Microsoft VMs on cluster number 1, and he wants to run his Oracle and the Linux VMs on the cluster number 2. That's how the customer wants to do his workload optimization. He wants to put specific clusters for specific licensing so that he is only licensed for the host on which this workloads are running. So let's look into how he does it. As the customer moves on to his vSphere web client, it is the MSBU East data center, and East Comp is where he wants to, is the cluster where he wants to run the Microsoft licenses. So he goes and tags the Microsoft licenses to the East Comp, and this is done within the vSphere web client, right? It is defined within the vCenter that you have. So I do a tagging, and the East management cluster is the cluster on which I want to put my Linux and the Oracle workload. So I do that tagging. Now, when I go to the vRealize operations manager page, you see my MSBU East data center is not optimized, right? Now, if you look at this, it is very clearly indicating to me that my CPU workload is very high in the East management cluster. It's almost 108%, and that's not an ideal way that I want to run my VMs. So let's see how the customer is able to overcome this issue that he has. So he knows this is a problem that he has, and he wants to run the workloads on specific clusters. So he goes in and tries to edit the settings. Now, what does he have as option for editing settings? First one is from a workload optimization standpoint. He can have a balanced configuration or a consolidated configuration. In a balanced configuration, he wants to give balanced resources to some of his major workloads. This is for customers who want to run their gold tier workloads on a gold tier hardware. They want to run it in a balanced way. The consolidate is something that customers use where they try to consolidate more and more workloads on a single cluster. This is recommended when you have a test and a development kind of a scenario. That's when the customer chooses a consolidated workload optimization. Then the next interesting part, the cluster headroom. The customer can set the cluster headroom to a specific level, after which the cluster starts optimizing the workloads. So usually customer sets the cluster headroom at 80%. So when my cluster is reaching 80%, I try to optimize it automatically so that it doesn't happen that when I am at 100%, I am trying to optimize. So that's something that customer can set ideally within the vRealize operation menu. Then is the tag-based VM placement that he wants to do. Like we discussed, he wants to put 3 tags. Here, the enforcement is through the license. He puts the tag as the Microsoft. He includes the tag Linux, and he includes the tag of Oracle. And then he goes ahead and saves this setting. And it will ask him that this is the policy change that you want to implement, and he clicks on yes, right? Now, the customer will look at optimize now. Now, if you see this screen, right, very carefully, the East management is at 108% CPU before, and with this optimization, I am able to bring the CPU workload to 67%. So by applying this optimization scenario, he is able to equally manage his workloads between the 2 clusters, right? Now, apart from that, license compliance is something that he wants to achieve, right? Now, if you look at it, there are certain Microsoft VMs which are running on East management. He is trying to push it to East Com, and there is a specific Oracle VM which is running on the East Com cluster, which he is trying to move to East management. and then he begins the action. Once he begins the action, within 5 minutes, if you see the screen, the MSBU East workload, the MSBU East data center is optimized. This is an easy and simple way that the customer is able to do a workload optimization. So the 3 takeaways for customers from a workload optimization is the way he is able to optimize his entire workload so that the resources are equally used between clusters. He is able to decide whether he wants a balanced workload or a consolidated workload, and he is able to define the cluster headroom after which he wants the optimization to apply, and he is also able to optimize in such a way that you are able to save your licensing cost. This is what the customer is able to achieve through the workload optimization. Now moving on, let's look at our next scenario, which is a capacity planning scenario. Now in this capacity planning scenario, this is for a healthcare customer, a pharma customer. His VP comes down to him and says, I want to run a new PACS development program. This is for 30 developers, right? And I want to run this project for 6 months. Can you tell me if I can run this in our one of our data centers that are running? Okay. So the IT guy doesn't have to worry about anything. He goes on to the vRealize operation window and he says, let me plan. The customer, my VP wants to run this particular application. That's the PACS application. And he wants to run it for 6 months for 30 developers. Let me see what are the options that are available. Now, when you look at a what if analysis, there are different windows that are available to a customer. The first one is if he has to run it on his existing cluster or his workload, he can choose between the traditional and the hyperconverged. If he has to add more new hosts, he can choose between his traditional workload or a hyperconverged. If he wants to generate cost from his other data centers, not just a single data center, but different other private data centers that he's running, he's able to see it. And he's also able to see, if I have to run this workload on the cloud, what is it going to cost?
So the Blessing, just to be clear, what you're saying is, what ifs will give me a workload perspective, traditional and HCI, or
Yes.
from a physical point of view, 3-tier versus if I add more HCI physical nodes, how would my data center look? Or
Yes.
options available, you're saying, in my own data centers anywhere in the world, and
Yes.
public cloud, which could be not only just VMware on AWS, but native, right? That's what you're saying. You'll be able to give us those options. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'll show you how it is done too.
Sure.
So now when I look at the workload planning, so I as an IT guy want to choose the hyperconverged piece. So here the IT guy goes and says, okay, I'm going to do the workload planning on my hyperconverged infrastructure and the cluster on which it is running. So he goes and adds the VMs. That's the action that I want to see. So he goes add VMs. And then we go on to the project. The project scenario is PACS. PACS is the new project that I want to run. I select the data center. This is the data center that I want to choose. And within that data center, I have 2 clusters. 0.1 is for production. This is a test and dev. So I choose the 0.2 cluster on which I want to run it. Okay, so I go ahead and choose the 0.2 cluster. Now you have 2 options here too in terms of inputting your this thing. You can put an Excel sheet if the VP has already given you this is the size of the VMs. You just put it as an XML file, or you can configure it yourself. So here the IT guy is configuring it himself. He takes 2 vCPUs per virtual machine, 4 GB of RAM and 100 GB of disk. And something new that is added to the vRealize 8.1 is the expected utilization. Since it's a new project and people will not start firing at say 100% from day one, I'm choosing a safer bet of about 60% utilization. And if this project is a big success, then I am expecting an annual growth of about 25%. That's what I want to do with this particular scenario. And since there will be about a bare minimum of 3 VMs per developer and 30 developer, I want to run about 100 virtual machines on this particular cluster. Now, within the same window, I am also able to configure my vSAN. That's the amazing part of it. So I can say, yes, I want to account for a swap space in terms if the workloads have to be moved. That's something that I choose. Failures to tolerate, I'm choosing 2 because that is what is defined in my data center. And failures to tolerate, I'm putting it as rate 6. And a dedupe ratio of 1.5 is already selected. That's something that I'm able to achieve because it's an all flash thing that I'm. The start date. Now, this project is something that he wants to start in September. So I put September 2nd or the 3rd week as the start date. And I want to run a scenario to see what it is doing. Now, this is the very interesting part and what something that Ajit was asking, right? Can I run this workload in my current data center? The answer is no, because I don't have enough resources. I am short of my CPU and I am short of my disk. And I want to run it for 6 months. But if I run this workload in this specific cluster, I am able to sustain this workload only for 47 days. That's not all. You would also want to check if there is enough space on the cluster number 1. Right? So I go in and to see if there is any other cluster in the same data center where I can run it and see if that is an option that I can fit in. So let me see if I can fit it in SC01, which is my production workload. And even there, I think there is a problem, right? So I click on it. And what I see is there also the CPU and disk is a problem. Now, this is from only a private data center within a data center, but I am also able to give you a VMC on AWS. If I have to run the same workload on VMC on AWS with the same configuration, what would I need? The VMC on AWS will come back and say, I need 4 hosts, but you will only be using 50% of your resources, whatever you have defined, for a period of 6 months. And it will give me a cost on VMC on AWS. This cost sheets are all built in. All this is built in within the vRealize operation and can be updated. And it is showing me it was going to cost me $5,000 per month if I'm going to run this for a period of 3 years. So this is something that is available on VMC on AWS. Now, I want to see what will it cost me to run it natively on, say, the Amazon cloud. That's the public cloud, not a VMware platform, but an Amazon public cloud. If I have to define the same scope, what will it cost me? So I define the cost. I choose the Amazon Web Services data center and I see the cost. It's going to cost me $4,652 to run it on my Amazon data center. Now let me look at Azure. Is Azure cheaper? So that is also an option that I can give back to my VP. And if you have any other data center, private data centers like NextGen or something, you can put their cost and that also can be defined and you will get a cost sheet of it. Apart from that, I also want to see if this workload can run on any other data center that I have. That is my private owned data center. So I see that there is a data center where it will cost $3,000. On HCI, there is another data center where it will cost $4,946. So when this IT guy goes back to his VP, he's able to stack up different scenarios. Sir, it is not able to run in your cluster, but I have these options. But apart from that, I also want to see if I have to add new infrastructure, how much is it going to cost me? That's also a scenario that this VP would be wanting to know. So I click on my add HCI nodes. I again name the project as PAX hardware, choose the same data center, choose the same cluster and say, now I want to put a server. My older server was Cisco, so Cisco brings it up here. But you can choose from different options. You can choose a Dell or HP or whatever nodes that you want to choose. If that options are already filled in. Here the Cisco is what was my incumbent vendor. And this is the specifics of the configuration and the cost. So I click on it and say, okay, I want to run it on UCS because that cost is readily available. And that's something that I want to continue with. I want to run the UCS piece itself in this particular scenario. Right? So I click on it, I click on OK, and I say I need 3 servers because it's a bare minimum requirement. Then I choose the date. I want it by the end of the month. Let me see how much is it going to cost me. So I run this scenario to see how much is it going to cost me to add new nodes. And it comes out and says that currently you are okay from a CPU utilization standpoint, but September 1 is when the new hardware is going to get added. So you see the CPU goes up automatically, right? Because here is where my new hardware sets in, right? That is the September is the month when it is going to add it. So I get more CPU. Same thing I can do across memory and disk space. Let me see how much is it going to cost me. So running these 3 hosts, it is going to cost me about 52,000. But there is also one more condition. This workload is going to run for 6 months. Will I be able to meet the requirement? So what I will do is I will stack the scenarios against each other. One is a new hardware along with the conditions that the VP defined to me. And then I click on run scenario and it shows me that PAX hardware comes in and September is when the development project is going to start. Let me run the scenario against each other to see if it is meeting my requirement. Now, if you see running both scenarios, I am able to extend it to 285 days, which was 47 days earlier, is extended to 285 days. I am taking the peak load at growing at 25%, right? So that is the growth at which it is going to grow. Up to 285 days, I will be able to support the workload on the new hardware that is born. And this is the same thing I will run across memory. Memory is never going to be an issue and disk is not going to be an issue. So I will be able to achieve this scenario even by buying new hardware. So here is an intelligent way. IT guy is going back to his business and saying, boss, for the scenario you defined to me, you cannot run it with your existing workload, but I have so many options. But if you want to buy new infrastructure, this is the new infrastructure, this is what it is going to cost you. So it gives you a complete visibility in terms of cost and what you want to buy. So it is a predictive way of buying what you want to buy. So this is something that any organization is able to achieve. So what are you achieving with the workload optimization is to run different scenarios within your data center, run different scenarios if you have to buy new workloads, and run different scenarios if you have to run it on private cloud or public cloud. All those options will be available to the customer, right? Now, this is my favorite one, which is the troubleshooting window. This is something that's really very good, and this is something that sets it apart from anybody else. And this is intelligent troubleshooting. So let's dive into what intelligent troubleshooting does. So here is another medical company. He's having a CAS shopping cart app, right? And the CAS shopping cart app has a database tier and a web tier. The web tier has 2 web servers and 1 database is running, right? Now this IT guy comes in, he sees how the application is related to each other. He's able to see from the application to the infrastructure what and all is there. A clear line of sight from a single window, not having to go anywhere. And what he sees is that the health is at 25%, right? And which is not a healthy sign, right? It is a 25% healthy thing. And it is also showing me the problem is in the database. If you look at the tier, it is showing me that the database tier is having a problem and it is working at only a 25% healthy scenario. So this is something that I want to troubleshoot because everything is shown to me on a screen. And it's also showing me that the database VM has a red dot on it. So let's dive into the VM to see what really happened. What is the reason why this is happening? And when I dive into the VM, I am able to see my demand has gone up to 116% CPU. Now that is not normal for my shopping cart app. That's something really, really different. So I want to go dig deeper and see what is really happening on this shopping cart app. What is the suddenly CPU demand going up? So I click onto my particular SQL database to see from when is this problem persisting? Is it for a long time or is it some changes that happened? What is causing this? I want to see everything within a single dashboard, right? So I click on it and click on the details. This is all within the vRealize operation. If you see, I'm not going to a different window to see anything. Now each VM is having a 4V CPU, okay, that's okay. But it is also giving me an indication that this virtual machine CPU is running for more than 100% for an extended period of time. So now that is something worrying. This is not something that has happened 10 or 15 minutes back, but it's running for a long time, right? Now I want to see what is the issue. Now vRealize operation will just not tell there is a problem. It will also tell you what is the resolution method that you can do. So it will say check the processes on the virtual machine to see if there is any process that is hung or need to be restarted. Is it something normal or some attack has happened to my particular VM is something that I want to see. Usually in the older versions, you would have to go to the virtual machine to do it. But the vRealize operations 8.1, you don't have to go anywhere. You can do everything within the same single window. So I go on to actions, go and click on get top processes. And I wait for some time. I say run. It will take me a few seconds to bring out the operations. And it is clearly showing me there is no other problem. My CPU is running at 100% each. For vCPU, 100% each is 400%. Now, what is causing this issue? Why is this suddenly that my SQL database has gone to 400% CPU? That's not something that is normal. This is where Workbench comes into picture. This is something that is newly added to vRealize operation 8.1. And how do I see it is, I have something called as a potential evidence. If you can see that on the tab, I click on that potential evidence. There are three things that I look for. I look for any events. Events in the sense, my NSX did some change, my DRS manager did some change. That is the reason something happened. Second thing I look at is there any property change? Somebody has added something to the code of the database, or a new switch is added, or a new hardware is done, or something like that. Something is done. And then I look at something called as anomalous metrics. This is where the artificial intelligence and the machine learning kicks in. And if you see this picture, it is very, very clear that from 9 in the morning, there has been a peak in the demand of the CPU. Now, I want to launch my Workbench to clearly understand what is the issue and why is my database behaving the way it is behaving, right? That's something that I want to do. So I click on the anomalous metrics. I go and launch the Workbench. So I go up, I go and launch the Workbench. And when I launch the Workbench, I'm able to see them as 3 pillars. Now, if you see, machine learning makes no sense if I'm not able to adjust my scope. I want to bring the scope down to see what is happening to my, my database specifically. So what can I adjust here? I can adjust the time range. I can go back to as long as 7 days, but for this scenario, I just want to go back to 6 hours and see what suddenly happened for my shopping app to work, shopping cart app to work the way it is working. So I say 6 hours, I say go, right? What all I can adjust on the scope? I am able to see the virtual machine and 2 scopes up. I'm able to see the data store it is attached to. I am able to see that it is running on a Linux OS, and I am also able to see on what host it is going to run, right? Now I want to limit my scope only to this specific database and see what is happening. And I want to run if there is an HTTP check and all of that to see if there is any event that caused this issue. And what I see is that there was something that is done by NSX, nothing major. DRS did something, nothing major there. Nothing in terms of property change, but the connection count has gone up at 9 in the morning. That is the reason that my CPU peaked. There is some connection count that has gone up. So let me pin this metric. That's something that you're able to do on the new vRealize operation 8.1, wherein I want to pin the metric and go deeper and see what this metrics wants to tell me. So I go on to the metric window, right? I click on the metrics window and I see, if you see, there are different scenarios that are there, like in terms of configuration, context, resource allocation. There is an yellow on the utilization, right? When the connection count went up, there is something that changed in my CPU that caused this trouble. So there is a CPU demand, which is in yellow, and there is CPU usage, which is again in yellow, right? So I click open both of this analysis onto my card to see it more clearly on what happened. And if you notice here, you will see as my connection count went up at 9 in the morning, until then my CPU usage was 96%, which was okay. But as soon as it went up, my CPU demand increased to 100%, and my CPU demand has shot up also by more than 100%. Now, this is something that what I will do is the IT guy zips all of this analytics and pushes it to the shopping cart app guy and says, boss, what is happening? Suddenly the connection count is going up. What is it? So he says, boss, I am running an offer where there is a 1+1 offer going on bandages and syringes. Didn't you know that? And I am having some performance issue on my application. So I know, okay, everything's safe. It is not something that has attacked my system. There's a new launch that is causing this issue. Let me go and fix it, right? So what I will do is, I will go again back to my VM, click on my VM, right? To see what I can do in terms of, because I have to increase the CPU count and people are hungry for the resources, right? So that's something that I am going to do, right? So I go back to my particular VM, I go to actions and say add more CPU. It's already telling me add 5, it will meet the demand, but usually customers choose double the CPU or increase it by 1 coin. So I am increasing it by 6, right? So I go ahead and click on 6, making it 6, right? That's what I want to do. And then I say begin the action. It has to be applied right now because the app is facing some kind of a problem. So I apply the action, right? And once the action is applied, the red alert will turn green and everything is okay. That will happen in a few minutes of time. But that is not it. By adding more CPU, is it caused any problem to any other VM that is running? That is something much more important that I want to look at, right? Because by adding this, doing some changes to my SQL database should not affect any other VM. It should not affect my web tier and all of that. That's something that I want to do. So I go back to my troubleshooting workbench. I want to go deep dive into my virtual machine, very specifically to my virtual machine, to see if there is a metrics that is able to tell me that everything is okay. Okay, it is showing me that the guest CPU, which was higher, is now gone down. That's directly because of the CPU that I have added. So I pin that metrics. Now, I want to run a self metrics to see if there is any other metrics within the window which is running equal to this or opposite of it, right? That will tell me that if there is any change or anything that happened. So I go click on it and say, all the self metrics of this VM, can you show it up to me on the screen, right? And the entire thing is run on the vRealize operation. You're not going anywhere else. It's all done within the vRealize operation. And you click on the correlation. Yes, the guest queue went down. That's something that I'm able to see. The CPU demand also went down from 100 down to 75. That's a good sign. I want to pin that particular metrics. Now, this is interesting. When I was facing that issue with my CPU, my write IOPS on the disk also went down. By adding more CPU, now I am able to increase my IOPS also. So that's very interesting. So I put all these 3 together, zip it up and send it to my shopping cart app guy saying that problem is fixed. There is no other issue with any other VMs. Continue the same. That's something that I'm able to do with Workbench. So what does Workbench enable you to do? It gives you a clear line of sight from your application up to your infrastructure to see what the problems are. It helps you troubleshoot faster. And after troubleshooting, it also helps you tell what are the impacts it had on the environment. So this is something that VMware vRealize operation is able to do. Isn't that very interesting, right? Now the self-driving operation is adopted by multiple industries across. There are a lot of customers who have taken this and that's something very, this is for every customer. Every customer is having his own challenge and during this time, difficult times, they are trying to optimize their operations. And this is one tool that can enable them to do it, right? So how do you plan your SDDC journey is very simple. We term vSphere Enterprise Plus as the advanced virtualization. From there, you want to run a self-driving operations, which you can choose through different bundles. vCloud Suite Standard helps you do that. If you want to automate your complete IT, which is anything as a service, which is your infrastructure as a service, that's something that if you want to do, that's also possible, which is the next step in the SDDC journey. And then if you want a dev ops kind of a scenario where you want your developers to spin up their VMs and all of that on your infrastructure, that is also possible, right? This is the ideal place to start. vCloud Suite Standard is something that you should look at. But there is also a very interesting offer. VMware has launched vRealize operation on the cloud, and this is something that anybody can do. It can do for even 10, 15, 20 VMs. You want to know how vRealize operation would run for you? This is something that is set up on the cloud already. What I need as a prerequisite from the customer is only a proxy vCenter VM. And every communication is inside out. There is no outside in. It's all through the internet. One proxy VM is something that you will have to set up, right? And it's very attractive. It's charged on a per VM basis, right? And if you give a 1 year or 2 year commitment, it's about $14 a month, right? If you give a 1 year commitment. So if you are going to run say a single VM, it is going to cost you only 1,000 rupees per month. And you're spending 1,000 rupees a month to overcome a 2,000 rupees efficiency per VM. That's how small it is. So if you want to say, how do I test it? How will vRealize operation do it for me? The simple way to do it is go and choose the VMware cloud option, vRealize operations cloud option. This is on a per VM basis. And you can choose the VM. And if you give a 1 year commitment, it's about $1,000 per VM. That's all it's going to cost.
Is it available on premise as well, Blesson, for customers?
Yes, it is also available on premise as a per CPU and per OSI. And if a customer wants a per CPU, we can do a session with you for an on-premise kind of a setup. What does it take? Is something that we can do for. But if he wants to turn on and wants to know what vRealize operation can do for him in his environment, the easiest way is to go onto the cloud, right? And this is all managed. vRealize operation will be managed by the VMware, right? About NewWave, we are an edge core and a cloud company. We have product solution services across all the three tiers. We are 20 years in this industry, spread across everywhere in the South. What I did today was from an IT transformation window that we do for customers, but we also have solutions that deal with workforce transformation. With all this BCP kind of scenario, we also do a lot of transformation in the terms of your workforce. We also have security transformation and digital transformation as practices that we take to customers, because different customers have different problems, and we help them do it from everything from an edge to the core to the cloud. It's something that we help customers to do, right? So any of your scenarios where you want to enable something like a business continuity program, or you want to talk about security solutions or hyper-converged infrastructure, do reach out to us. We will be more than willing to help you, and let's sail together during these difficult times, right? Just before we close, over to Kiran.
So Subbu, sorry, Kiran, 1 minute. So Subbu, you might want to just share a few thoughts with the audience. Subbu, if you're there and you can hear us. Or Bharat, yeah, one of them.
Yeah. Thanks, Ajit. Thank you for having me on this session. It was a very, very nicely presented session. But more important than the presentation is the messaging that we would like to put forward to you. We in VMware are looking to solve your business problems. We in VMware are because there is very large correlation between the application that you're running and the business that you're running. So it means that if you've got a first mover advantage in an application or in a functionality set in an application, you would reap the business would reap the benefits. So I think while the application is important, what is equally important and what I think Blesson had covered to a certain extent is the underlying health of the infrastructure, and how do you ensure that with the minimum resources that you have from and an infrastructure perspective, how is it possible that you would be how is it possible for you to increase your uptime of your existing infrastructure rather than going in for the age old concept of redundancy, or for every server have a server redundant, so that if one server fails, another server will pick it up. So we moved very, very past that. Now what we are trying to do is that with the existing virtualized infrastructure which you have, with the underlying physical infrastructure that you have, how do we increase your uptime? How do we ensure that the infrastructure works in a balanced mode? Like, for example, Blesson was talking about performance balancing, right? He was talking about consolidation. He was talking about balancing. How do you ensure that you have an insight as to how long, how much additional workloads this infrastructure would support for you? How do you ensure that your compliance from a virtual infrastructure perspective, that you're fully compliant, so that in any day anybody comes in for an internal or an external audit, you're ready? How do you ensure that from a remediation, from a problem troubleshooting perspective, which is what I was talking about, the uptime part of it? How do you ensure that you have maximum uptime? How do you ensure that you have a tool which gives you a proactive insight that this is a problem that might occur, and what are the steps? And not only does it showcase the problem to you, but even tells you that what is the solution to resolve the problem, which in this case, which Blesson had showed, you would need to add more vCPUs or more CPUs. So somewhere I think this is the foundation for your digital transformation journey. And as taking an analogy from the real estate sector, without a good foundation, the building will not stand strong. So we are setting the foundation in ensuring that you get an insight into your you get an insight into your infrastructure. You get an and you're able to stave off problems, or cordon off problems before they happen. So that is what realize operations does for you as a as a platform. That's and also there's a angle of costing as well. So from a budgeting perspective, it also helps you to understand that what is the cost that you save from reclamation, etc. So these are the sort of things which, from an overall perspective, would add value to the operations, would add value to the infrastructure operations, which all of you are dealing with. So that's it from my end. I'm open to any questions, or Blesson, over to you and Ajit.
I think before we open for a Q&A session, I would like to again take your feedback, for which I would like to run a couple of polls again. So let us start with the first poll before we close our webinar. And the question reads, are you interested in adopting the vRealize Operations Cloud SaaS model? So if anyone is interested in adopting this, please choose yes, so that we can get back to you post this webinar. Okay, so we're going to close this poll in next 4 seconds. And I would request all of you to kindly participate before I close. Right. So next question, the next poll reads, you want us to run this session for your broader team members at your organization. So if you are sure that if you want to involve multiple stakeholders from your organization, you can actually choose for this, so that we can do a depth session for you, for your organization, like customized to our organization. Okay, I see a couple of votes coming in. I think there are more than 10 people. I would sincerely request everyone to kindly participate. If you are interested in choosing yes, choose yes. No, please choose no. Okay, I'm going to close this poll now. A last poll for the webinar is, was this session a productive use of your time? Did you find this productive? Okay. Okay, we're going to close this poll too, and we are open for Q&A session. I think there's already a question that's asked by Ms. Rekha. She's asking, can we create custom reports in 8.1 VROps with standard license? Can anyone take this question, Blesson or Subbu or Ajit sir?
Bharat will take that.
Yeah, sorry, I missed the question. Can you please repeat again?
Okay. She's asking, can we create custom reports in 8.1 VROps with standard license?
Yes, you can, provided that the metrics which you would like to show in the report is in no way linked to the DRS functionality.
You might want to just expand on that little, Bharat. The DRS is in the dynamic resource scheduler piece, right?
Yeah. So basically, some of the features which have been shown by Blesson have a lot to do with the DRS functionality of Enterprise Plus, which is available in Enterprise Plus, which is not available in the standard license.
Sure.
So, for example, what if analysis, right? That what if analysis, and then then your balancing, your consolidation, that will be available. But otherwise, yes, you would be able to create customized reports for all those parameters which is thrown out by the vSphere standard or the vCenter into and create it on VROps. Yes, you can do that.
Right. Thanks, Bharat. Thank you.
Right, so I've enabled all of you to speak. If I've unmuted all of you. If you have any queries, you can directly ask our speakers or the team from VMware, or you can still use Q&A panel to ask your questions.
Kiran, I think we are coming between the audience's lunch, so you might want to just wrap up. Yep.
Yeah, sure. I think my team going to reach out to you all post this webinar to understand how you feel about the technology. Is there any scope in your organization? So I would like to close. I would like to call Mr. Bharat to close this for us. Over to you, Bharat.
Yeah, thank you. And as I had discussed, would request you to kindly look at this, because this would help you in your day-to-day operations. As you know, any technology to be of any use has to have a cost impact, right? So it should save you money either from a manpower costing perspective, or should be able to save you money upfront in terms of ability to consolidate your infrastructure, or be able to save you money in terms of time. So it is on these principles that VMware develops. In any product is developed in VMware. So what we feel is that this would be an extremely, it doesn't matter whether you're using 1 VM, 2 VMs, 3 VMs, or 4 VMs, or 5 VMs. You can have a basic level of, or you're using even vSphere standard. You would be able to have a very high level of monitoring and creating a platform for efficient operations. So this is what I would like to leave you with. We have, like Blesson had mentioned, we even have this offering either from a per CPU perspective. So if you're running let's say 20 VMs on a CPU, on every CPU which you have, we have offerings for that. Or if throughout your infrastructure you're only running 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 VMs, 40 VMs, 50 VMs, we are able to give it to you as a service, as a cloud service. It would include the support perspective as well. So we would request you to kindly look at this, and you yourself will be able to see the return on investment on this tool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think before we close, there is one more question. I think we should take this question and then close. Rekha she's again asking, can VROps reclaim resources from over-provisioned VMs on the fly without downtime? Yeah, I think Pankaj already responded. Okay, then we're going to close today's webinar. I would like to thank both attendees, delegates, as well as VMware folks for joining us today. So we're going to receive a link in my thank you email where you can take a feedback. I would request you all to kindly give your feedback so that we can respond to you post this webinar. And should you wish to access the recording of this webinar, you may please feel free to reach out to me. And anyhow, there'll be a link to recap this session in the thank you email too. Have a great day ahead, and thank you once again for your patient presence.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.